I give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which in Hebrew are the wonderful names of the Creator, our Heavenly Father, I Am, which this world has named God, and His beloved anointed Son, which this world has named Jesus. I give honor, respect, and thanks to all the true, faithful, and sincere apostles, elders, prophets, and torchbearers of the nation of Israel, who have willingly endured and risked much to bring forth the truth. Thank you, brothers. In this chapter, we are beginning the conversation of decision. 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 This, as always, is a message to our brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel, the mighty nation of Israel today being the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latins, Hispanics, and the so-called Native Americans. Decision. So, that we have a common understanding. Decision. A conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. The action or process of deciding something or of resolving a question. A formal judgment. The act or process of deciding. A determination arrived at after consideration. A report of a conclusion. Promptness and firmness. There are decisions to be made. The first scripture we're going to in this chapter is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. This is our forefather, the prophet Moses, speaking unto the nation of Israel. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. So there is always a choice. There is always a choice. You, Israelite, make the decision. The second book of the prophet Esdras, chapter 7, verse 57. The books of the prophet Esdras can be found in the Apocrypha, which is the middle book of the King James 1611 Bible. This is our forefather, the prophet Esdras, and he is speaking unto an angel, and the angel is speaking unto him. Then answered he me, the angel answered our forefather Esdras, and said, This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. 58. That if he be overcome, he shall suffer, as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. 59. For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, Choose thee life, that thou mayest live. 60. Nevertheless, they believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him, no, nor me, which have spoken unto them. So, as it was then, it is today. The prophets, the modern day prophets, the brothers who are out on the street of camp, the brothers who are giving classes, and the brothers who are online speaking this word in truth and in sincerity, sincerely desiring the will of the Father in heaven through the Son, desiring all the fulfillment of all the prophecies, desiring fulfillment of all the prophecies. We speak, thus saith the Most High, as it is written, and many still today don't believe. They claim to understand this Bible. The prophets weren't believed back then. The true prophets weren't believed back then. 61, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. You can hear the voice of our Father through the Son upon the earth today, through the servants of the one true living Most High Power, who speak this word in truth and in sincerity, telling you to come home to who you are. where you belong, telling you to choose life over death. You have to be able to see. You have to be able to hear. And more importantly, you have to be able to discern. It is crucial now. Yahushua said, endure unto the end. It's crucial now. The book of the prophet Job, chapter 5, verse 13, He, our Father in heaven, taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong, destroyed. 14, they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. They're lost. They're completely lost because the divine wisdom is not in them. And they are not willing to humble themselves to truly seek it out. So they're just stumbling around. There's bright light upon the earth, and people are still stumbling around like it's the middle of the night. 15, but He, our Father in heaven, saveth the poor, the Israelites, from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. But He, our Father in heaven, saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth.
No one who believes in God can demonstrate in real time that their God can answer prayers.
So you don't believe in any God at all?
No, sister, the highest power in this world is the ability to think. There is no power that's higher than the ability to think. The highest thing, the highest knowledge that I can know is to know that I am me. I cannot know anything more than I know that I am me.
The book of the prophet Job, chapter 9, verse 20, if I justify myself, mine own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse. The book of the prophet Job, chapter 34, verse 33, should it be according to thy mind? He, our Father in heaven, will recompense it, whether thou refuse or whether thou choose, and not I. Therefore speak what thou knowest. So again, it's like what the Spirit's been bringing out now for some time. It would be better if you don't say anything than to come against the one true living most high power, His Son, and the Holy Spirit. And now, raising your tongue against the nation of Israel, the Israelites. It would be so much better if you just didn't say anything. We're in this flesh. What do we know? Returning to the second book of the prophet Esdras, now chapter 4, verse 1. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer too, and said, Thy heart hath gone too far in this world, and thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High? 3. Then said I, Yea, my Lord. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show thee 3 ways, and to set forth 3 similitudes before thee. 4. Whereof, if thou canst declare me one, I will show thee also the way that thou desirest to see, and I shall show thee from whence the wicked heart cometh. 5. And I said, Tell on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, Go thy way, weigh me the weight of the fire, or measure me the blast of the wind, or call me again the day that is past. 6. Then answered I and said, What man is able to do that thou shouldest ask such things of me? Humility. For us to think we are all that is, that's comedy. That's comedy. To think that we have access unto real power with pride and vanity, that's never going to happen. How do you weigh fire? We don't even know how to begin to make that a possibility. Call me again the day that is past. Well, Yahushua could do that, right? So let's say someone was alive yesterday and then they were dead today, or asleep today. Then he brought them back, and it was like yesterday. Who else can do these things? We all have to take a look at any place that we're holding on to pride and vanity. Any place that we are holding on to pride and vanity, because something's coming. Again, many people think they understand. They think they are ready. They think they can comprehend what our Father has promised upon this earth. But you need to go far beyond. Far beyond. To really comprehend. In these last of the last days, you must be cautious. People will tell you things. One of the things that people are going to tell you about is in order to satisfy the desires of the flesh, is they're going to work to convince you to take that thing inside of you, to get that mark inside of you, to get that charagma, which has been spoken about for a long time. A long time. But again, as it was in the past, many didn't believe the prophets, the ones who were really sent by the one true living Most High Power, the ones who spoke in truth and in sincerity. You have a decision. We all have decisions. Who will you take counsel from? The book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 4, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High Power. The Most High Power is not in all his thoughts. 5, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. 6, he hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. This is what the proud say. This is what the prideful say. This is what they say. Who will you listen to? Who will you take counsel from? 7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity, foolishness. So you must pay attention today. Who will you take counsel from? Who will you listen to? Are you in prayer? Are you deeply in prayer? Are you praying for wisdom? Are you fasting to get this flesh under control? You must be the master of this flesh. And it takes some time to get there, but you must master the desires of this flesh so that your rage and anger, if they pop up, you got that under control. If confusion shows up, you've got that under control. Now, none of us are perfect, but it is better to have 10 seconds of something than to spiral into days of something. You have to understand where you are and what you are up against. Pay attention to who you get counsel from. The book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 29, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. These may be some of the people you talk to. They hate knowledge. They're like, I know what I know, and that's enough. I don't need to know him. I don't need to know his son. I don't need to know the prophecies. All I need to know is John 3:16. He'll take me as I am. He'll, God, he'll do it my way. He'll take care of me in my way. And did not choose the fear of Yahweh. You have to make a decision. Everything has a cost. Everything. The book of St. Matthew, chapter 12, verse 35. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. And an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Really question and make a decision. Which way will you go? Who will you listen to? And what will be the actions? What will be the words of your mouth and the actions of your hands and your feet? 37. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. You either believe that or you don't. But we who believe the report, we know what's coming and what has actually begun. The book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 8. Arise, O Most High Power, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Everything is going to be in full submission to the one true living Most High Power. Everything upon this earth. Esau was given his kingdom for a time. But there's coming a world meaning time frame, age, span of time, where there's going to be righteousness upon this earth. There just is. Just look around. Look at where we are today. So, as the Spirit brought out, so a place where a lot of people get stuck is they don't hear the last word. They hear the first word, right? They hear trade, war. The last word is war. The last word is war. It doesn't matter what goes before it. War is occurring upon the earth. There are casualties. There are jobs, businesses, retirements, pensions. There are casualties right now. Right now. Because that spirit of war is stirred up upon the earth.
India has just taken a massive step towards war with Pakistan after they suspended the Indus Water Treaty. The treaty is a water sharing agreement signed back in 1960 between the two, which divides the Indus River system between them, and its suspension is a huge deal. Firstly, because it has never happened before. Despite the multiple wars and tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighbours in the past, the treaty has always been kept in place. And secondly, it's a big deal because it means that India could be planning to restrict or even totally stop the flow of water into Pakistan. And if this happens, it would be absolutely devastating for Pakistan because they depend on the water from the Indus for 80% of their agriculture. And Pakistan knows this because they just announced that any attempt by India to restrict the flow of water into Pakistan will be officially considered an act of war.
Pakistan has closed its airspace to all Indian airlines, expelled military attachés, suspended cross-border trade, and halted the Wagah crossing in retaliation to India's punitive measures. Pakistan's National Security Committee explicitly warned that attempts to stop Indus River water flow constitutes an act of war. Islamabad's retaliation targets India's transport networks while leveraging its nuclear deterrent against water security threats. The suspension of the Simla Agreement removes legal constraints on military movements along their contested border. India controls physical access to Pakistan's water lifeline, while Pakistan controls transit routes for Indian goods moving to Central Asia. This creates immediate escalation risk, with Pakistan's military positioned to respond to water diversions through strikes on Indian dam infrastructure.
Pakistan increases ceasefire violations. India is preparing for an escalation. Rafale and Su-30 jets are in the skies. Here's what we know about the exercise. Here's what it is about. It's about precision strikes, air dominance sorties, and integrated warfare. The aim? To simulate a real-time high-intensity conflict. So the message is loud and clear. India's military is switching gears to offensive mode. The drills are taking place over central India. The Indian Air Force has mobilized its strike force. We told you about the Rafale and the Su-30 jets. Fighter pilots are practicing complex missions, like long-range missions and airstrikes in mountainous regions. The idea is quite simple. Practice to breach enemy lines and deliver a deadly blow.
By the grace and the mercy of our Father in heaven, we are in a season where we can see the words coming to life. Coming to life. So, what has been said? When you take that last video into consideration, what has been said? The book of the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 2. I, Yahweh the Most High Power, the creator of heaven and earth, the creator of all things, the creator and destroyer, I will also gather all nations, because our Father has dominion over all nations and families upon the earth. I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people. Who are those people? The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latins, Hispanics, the so-called Native Americans. And for my heritage Israel, there you go. We are the nation wherever we go, whom they have scattered among the nations. We are in the four corners of the earth today, serving out the last of our last captivity, and parted my land. So there are people in the land today that are not the Israelites. And some said, well, we're going to take this portion over here, and others said, we're going to take this portion over here, and others said, we're going to take this portion over here. Well, something has begun upon this earth.
بگو گازه بره بگو بره داره میتره که اوه 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 یا علی نتره که اینجا همه خارج شد
So, here's something interesting. After that devastating explosion and resulting fire, here's what was said. A spokesperson for the country's crisis management organization appeared on Saturday to blame the explosion on poor storage of chemicals in containers at Shahid Rajeh, adding that earlier warnings had highlighted potential safety risks. So they're saying, sorry, it's our bad. It's our bad. This thing that just happened that was devastating, yeah, oops, it's our bad. Now, if you noticed, the Russians were there to help them. The Russians were over there in the valley to help the Iranians. Now, interesting enough, in the last chapter,
Powerful explosions have rocked a major ammunition depot in Russia's Vladimir region, about 64 kilometers northeast of Moscow.
So that was the explosion that occurred at a Russian ammunition depot. And what did they say after that happened? Russia's military blamed the blast on ammunition which had detonated after the storage building caught fire due to a violation of safety requirements. So again, they're saying, it's our bad. It's our bad. Can you see where we are today? Can you see that spirit upon the earth today? Can you see it? Because even in China, there's fire.
妈呀，这意外和明天究竟谁先来呀？就我家门口。
这个要吃房东，再说要吃房东，还有人估计是不是那个牢里头吃？俺那个老人就出不来，肯定要老人出不来嘛。就咱现在觉得要老人出。年轻人跑能跑就跑，你不建议人交换。你赶快开过去，赶快开过去，你不开就跟你说。那车在哪里也不开？赶紧开，给你把车开过来。赶紧上完去。不开点收费了。收费谁赔你？没人赔，赔不起来了，你所有公司赔了。俺老人这个房子造的。不给过了，不给过了。一老这个你不开那车。
Returning to the book of the prophet Joel, chapter 3, now verse 12. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Thus saith the Most High.
Good morning, Papa Lima Alpha Fox 40, confirm inbound to Oscar Lima Bravo Alpha 40, familiar with our airport and FIR.
So that plane, the Chinese transport plane, landed in Beirut earlier in the week, and then later in the week, explosions and fire in China. The book of the prophet Joel, chapter 3, verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision. The valley of Jehoshaphat is the valley of decision. All the kings and the rulers upon this earth are making decisions today. All praise to the one true living Most High power. As it is written, thus saith the Most High, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. 16, Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion. So that roaring is the men who stand out here and speak boldly. We humble men stand boldly and firmly at the spiritual gates of Jerusalem, at the spiritual gates of the city of David, at the spiritual gates of Zion, calling you, Israel, home. Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Who do you want to stand with, Israel? Israelite, so-called Negroes, so-called Latin Hispanics, so-called Native American. Who do you want to stand with? What else has been said? What else has been said? The book of the prophet Amos, chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not light.
A massive blackout hit Chile on February 25, 2025, affecting 14 out of 16 regions and 8 million homes.
Por favor, nadie salga ahora. Ahorita es la hora donde empezó los humos negros. ¿Qué están diciendo? Dios mío, por favor. Señor bendito, Dios de la gloria. Señor.
The book of the prophet Amos, chapter 5, verse 20, shall not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it?
These two countries combined, Spain and Portugal, you're talking about a population of 50 million people combined. This is massive. Nothing is working. The trains are not working. The underground metro system is not working. People were seen walking out of a dark tunnel with their flashlights on their phones. The Madrid Open tennis tournament as well had to be suspended. Players had to walk off the court mid-match because the scoreboards, the cameras as well, were everything shut down. In Spain, power is starting to come back in certain parts of the region, but millions remain without power at the moment.
There has been a massive power outage, huge blackouts being reported, particularly across Spain. The power operator Red Electrica saying they are reporting blackouts right across the country. It affects what they call the peninsular system. Portugal also reporting that they are being impacted there as well. And this is affecting things like trains. So apparently a lot of the train services have been paused at the moment. Traffic lights as well. Reports coming out of Madrid at the moment that say that traffic lights are not working, and neither is the underground railway system.
You guys, the scene in Spain is honestly creepy and post-apocalyptic. Now, you would never be able to tell. It seems like life's just continuing, but literally there are no traffic lights. It's the last of light we're gonna see here with the sky, with the natural lighting. Everyone's concerned, everyone's suspicious. What the hell is going on? The last people walking are like suspicious. All the businesses are closed. Everything is closed. Is this the beginning of something more serious than we know? It's all speculation at this point, but yeah, guys, it is weird.
So what then is this rare atmospheric phenomenon which is thought to have caused the outage? Our science correspondent Martin Stew is here to explain. So go on then, what is it?
Well, Mary, it's all a bit of a mystery. We've only heard so far from Portugal's grid operator. They blame, as you said, this rare atmospheric phenomenon. They say it's extreme temperature variations which caused, I quote, anomalous oscillations in the very high voltage lines, also known as induced atmospheric vibrations.
Right, so that's clear then.
Which begs the question, what on earth does that mean? Well, look, in certain rapidly changing weather conditions, what you can see is the air around power lines gets warm and damp and windy, and you can physically sometimes see wires gallop, like you can see in Winnipeg here in America. It's not actually the physical movement that's the bigger problem. The main issue is if the ionized air around those cables interacts with the cable itself, it can change the electricity inside the wire. And as that frequency changes, it becomes different to the rest of the grid. And if that difference gets too great, the system has to shut down for safety reasons. What's unusual here is normally a bit like if the trip switch goes in your bathroom, the light stays on in the kitchen, a small section should have turned off. It seems to have wiped out the whole grid. There'll be lots of questions about that. And then what is really, really weird, in the words of an expert I spoke to, is if you look at Spain's weather forecast. Here is the weather today. Classic springtime temperatures, sunny, light winds. These are not the conditions that should be causing induced atmospheric vibrations. Now, we are yet to hear from the Spanish grid provider. Hopefully they can throw some light. Until then, we are as much in the dark, to be honest, as those people who are without power tonight.
We are in that time where the prophets, the brothers, we can just point and say, see, our father said that would happen. See, our father said that would happen. You have to make a decision. Ten toes down on that rock that is our shelter. 10 toes firmly down. There's going to be an incredible salvation when the Father says so. No one knows the time, no one knows the hour. Again, we could be at this for another, couple of years. Who knows? Or maybe not. But here's something that doesn't change. The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High Power must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. You must understand that. And know that this is where our wisdom comes from, our knowledge comes from, our understanding comes from, our discernment comes from. But we must draw close to the Father through the Son. Remember, it's Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Our Father comes in the name of the Son. We must draw close to the Father through the Son to work to be in his presence spiritually. The book of Psalms, chapter 17, verse 2. This is from our forefather, the prophet and King David. Let my sentence, the words that come out of my mouth, my thinking, what I have to declare, Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Not my knowledge, not my understanding, not my thinking, not my thinking. Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Because he worked, all you have to do is read Psalms. He prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. This is an example unto us. He prayed and prayed and prayed unto the Father. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. He prayed. And he worked to make himself acceptable unto the one true living most high power. Remember, our forefather, the prophet Abraham, was considered a friend of the one true living most high power. That's something to strive to be an equal to. So, for those who believe and who come out here and speak this word in truth and in sincerity, we believe, therefore we have spoken. What do we speak? Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Well, what's a sentence set forth by our Father in heaven? What's one? The book of Genesis, chapter 7, verse 11. The first death was declared. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the foundations of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the windows of heaven were opened. I wonder what that looks like. The book of Psalms, chapter 33, verse 8, let all the earth fear Yahweh. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. 9, for he spake and it was done. He commanded and it stood fast. 10, Yahweh bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. You can think all you want. You will not be able to think around the judgments of the one true living most high power. The book of Psalms, chapter 4, verse 4, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you believe. Stand in awe and sin not. That's clear. That's clear. Stand in awe of the one true living most high power and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still, Selah. Start looking deep inside of yourself. Who told me what I believe today? Who led me this way? What was the end for them? What was the outcome for them? Was there any peace in their life? Were there any blessings in their life? Consider and make a decision. 5, offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in Yahweh. So, it is Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Our Father comes in the name of the Son. Our Father comes in the name of the Son. The book of St. John, chapter 5, verse 22, for the Father judgeth no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son. The book of St. Matthew, chapter 8, verse 25, and his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. 26, and he saith unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. The book of St. Mark, chapter 4, verse 37, and there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. 38, and he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow, and they awake him, and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? 39, and he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. 40, and he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? Returning to the book of St. Matthew, chapter 8, now verse 27, but the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Our Father comes in the name of the Son. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?
Todo esto es lo que está viviendo la gente acá, miren, en Garita Palmera. Están en zozobra realmente. Pero miren esas olas, qué grandísimas están. Solo fíjense la magnitud del peligro que generan esas grandes olas y con la fuerza que caen. Miren, wow, miren, miren, es increíble, con la fuerza que llegan esas olas acá. Es increíble, miren, miren, gente.
Ahuachapan, El Salvador.
Upon the earth today are in the midst of the amplification process. Things are amplifying up, and we can see them. We can see them. It is not man-made climate change. It is not a 4 million year cycle of nature. It is the words of the one true living most high power. The book of Psalms, chapter 48, verse 10. According to thy name, O most high power, so is thy praise unto the ends of the earth. Thy right hand is full of righteousness. That right hand is Yahweh Shai, causing those waves to flow in, causing those waves to overflow. Our Father comes in the name of the Son. Yahweh Shai is judging because he's been in the flesh, and he understands. He understands. And he's bringing righteous judgment. Thy right hand, Yahushua, is full of righteousness. 11. Let Mount Zion rejoice. Let the daughters of Judah be glad because of thy judgments. And so this is another place where you get to decide, where you have to make a decision. Are you going to rebel against the righteous judgments of the one true living most high power through his son, Yahushua? Or are you going to humble yourself to your Creator? There are rewards that come with that. When you can humble yourself unto the Father in truth and in sincerity, there are rewards that come with that. Necessary rewards. The book of the prophet Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh, and that thought upon his name. So everything serves the Father. So when the heavenly hosts come back in the chariots, what everyone likes to call is UFOs and UAPs and, whatever else. When Yahushua and the heavenly hosts come back in the chariots, there are people's names that are written that won't be touched. Won't be touched at all. They'll be delivered. Actually, they're coming for those people. They're coming to save those people. Because the remembrance is there for them. Now again, not every one of the other nations is an evil, wicked person, but this is for Israel. This conversation is for Israel. You have to make a decision. You want to be in that book? Or do you want to go for a couple of laps in a lake of fire? It's really that simple. So, in wrapping this up, what is something else that has been said? This is to help you make your decision. All right? Like if you kind of, or if you're sort of, or if you have 5 toes down, 6 toes down, get all 10 toes down. Get all 10 toes down and do it right now. Do it right now. We're all going to need, if you're an Israelite, we're all going to need help. Even of the hopeful elect, the 1/3, we're all going to need help. That's what salvation is. So, what's another thing that has been spoken? The book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. So that's the voice of Yahushua calling to us today. Calling to us today. He's doing that on behalf of the Father through the servants of the one true living most high power who are out here roaring like lions. Roaring like lions. Speaking this word in truth and in sincerity and boldly. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive none of her plagues. So she, being mystery, Babylon the Great, the so-called United States of America. She's got plagues coming. 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh the Most High Power, who judgeth her. The second book of the prophet Ezra, chapter 15, verse 5, behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world meaning time frame, age, span of time, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Famine. The second book of the prophet Esdras, chapter 16, verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. So particularly in Mystery Babylon the Great, for a while things have been, easy to purchase, good price, but, slowly things are going up. Things are going up slowly and slowly and slowly. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Famine. 22. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine.
There's no ships right here in the water. You should have seen the ships. They say that like that cruise one should be ships on the other side. Right here looks empty as well. You see those middle rows? Right now, let's see. There should be containers on that middle row. It's empty by those two trucks over there, just parked. You should see containers there. There's nothing.
Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Houston, New Orleans, Miami, Virginia, New York, Boston, the Great Lakes, Shanghai, Vietnam. I'm seeing a lot of posts like this about how there are no ships in our ports, and it certainly kind of looks like that from these real-time maritime maps. I'm no expert in this, and I don't have any history in it, but it sure would be great if somebody who did could chime in and let us know if this is normal or if this is something we should be concerned about.
There are things prophesied to occur. There are things prophesied to happen. There are. And none can defend against it. So, the book of Sirach, chapter 37, verse 15. And above all this, pray. Oh, please, take this very seriously. Pray. Pray. And above all this, pray to the Most High that he will direct thy way in truth. Let my sentences come forth from thy presence, that he may direct thy way in truth. That truth is Yahushai. He's the captain of our salvation. But we have to know who he is, really know who he is. 16, let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action. Think. Think. You're a little thirsty, you're a little hungry, and people say, if you take this thing in your body, you can come on into our little village here, and you can eat and drink and have a little cot. Let reason go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action. What can they do that can compare to ones who can move the waves of the ocean? What can be done? Ones who control the wind, fire, air, snow, hail, and the hearts of men. Our Father said, behold, my servants shall eat. Behold, my servants shall drink. But you have to have faith. Let reason go before every enterprise and counsel before every action. The last scripture we're going to in this chapter is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High Power and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So we can't keep all the statutes and the laws. We're not in our land. We can't do it. But at the very least, you could keep the 10 Commandments. You can keep the dietary laws. Men dress like men, women dress like women. Love thy neighbor, your brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel. Love thy neighbor as thyself. In these ways, we can strive for perfection. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High Power and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. 14, for the Most High Power shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. There are real, actual wonders and miracles occurring upon the earth today. Do you have the eyes to bear witness? If you can see, then you can decide. If you can see, then you can make a clear, accurate decision. Make no mistake about it. World War III and the nuclear destruction of America are coming. It will coincide exactly with the return of our King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Savior, High Priest, and Brother, Yahushai. Thus saith Yahweh. Philippians 2, 9 through 11. Wherefore Yahweh also hath highly exalted him, and given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahushai every knee shall bow, of things in heaven, and things in earth, and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahushai is Lord, to the glory of Yahweh the Father. As it is written, thus saith Yahweh, and nothing can stop it. This is a final warning, Israel. Shake off this world, remember who you are, and come home. All praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai.
Buenas tardes, perdona, ¿para Bolonia? Vaya, venga, gracias.
Qué bueno, tío, ole tú,